Hello and welcome back, everybody. I'm your host and your magical friend, LD. And today I've got a very special video to share with all of you. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips on how to be a good magician. First and foremost, I'm very happy to say that as of the recording of this video, I'm now up to 88 subscribers. Seriously, thank you to all of you subscribers out there for watching this. It really means a lot that you've stuck with me all this time. I'm very happy to have you here, and I care about each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this video is for all of you out there who might be starting out in magic or have an interest in magic, but maybe need some tips to help you get started. Well, this video is for you. Now, if you're a professional magician who's already working and doing shows, then maybe these tips don't really apply to you because you probably already know these things. But then again, it's always good to rehear some things, and it's always good to have reminders of what's important now and again. But I certainly hope you enjoy this video. I hope you have fun watching it, and I hope you get something out of it. And if you do enjoy it, well, you know what you gotta do. Go ahead and hit the like button. It helps the channel, it helps me, and I'm sure in some way, probably helps you as well, in ways I could never know. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way we can always stay in touch and we can keep the magic and fun going together all the time. So get ready, get set, hang on to your wigs and keys. Let's get started.
What?
No.
Oh my god.
No way.
So I would like to share that this video is dedicated to my nephew. Lately, he's been having a big interest in magic and has been learning a lot of magic tricks at home. Obviously, I had something to do with that, of course. And every now and then he'll text me or FaceTime me and show me something that he's working on and ask for some pointers. So my nephew, I love you very much. And this video is especially dedicated to you. But of course, I do hope that all of you out there who are interested in getting into magic can learn and benefit from these tips of mine as well. So this video is dedicated to everybody out there who's interested in magic, but specifically my nephew. But this video is for all of you, but specifically my nephew. You get it. These 5 tips are not the end-all be-all tips. You might be a magician watching this and you might have some other tips that you'd like to contribute as well. And if you do, great, fantastic. Go ahead and leave some of those tips in the comments below. Let's start a dialogue and maybe there's some other tips that you can share that other people could benefit from. But these are just tips that I've learned along the way in all my years of doing magic. And these are the 5 tips that I find are very helpful for me, and I think they might be helpful for all of you. So, without further ado, let's get started with tip number 1. Most of the time, a lot of magicians want to go ahead and learn everything there is to know, so they have a lot of variety in their magic act. And that's perfectly okay. But then again, you might find that there's a particular type of magic that specifically appeals to you. And there are lots of famous magicians out there that specialize in one branch of magic. For example, of course, there's Shin Lim. And you can tell that his specialty is cards and close-up. And of course, Shin Lim is just absolutely fantastic at what he does. There's also another great magician who I've seen for many, many years. His name is Banachek. And if you've never heard that name, I highly encourage you to look up Banachek. His specialty is mentalism. And mentalism is a type of magic that deals with things that look like mind reading or telling the future. I actually saw Banachek perform at my college at Barry University years ago. And man, did I become a fan of his instantly. He's performing in Las Vegas in his own show, and so is Shin Lim as well. And of course, there are other magicians that like to specialize in specific types of things. You have some magicians that just specialize in cards, some magicians who specialize in coins, some magicians who specialize in impromptu magic and like to do things with other objects like phones, straws, hats, stuff like that. There are some magicians that specialize in mentalism, as I mentioned. There are some magicians that are what you call comedy magicians, where they like to incorporate both magic and comedy into what they do. And of course, you also got your big-time magicians that like to specialize in big stage illusions, and some magicians that specialize in escapes, some with animals, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of rooms in the House of Magic, and there's a very special one just for you. So decide what type of magic appeals to you. Now, if you just want to go ahead and just learn everything there is to learn, then fantastic. But also, feel free to take your time. Don't try to learn everything very quickly. A lot of magic does take time to develop. And once you do find that type of magic that interests you, go ahead and really take time to work on it and really hold on to it. This may seem like the most obvious tip, but it really can't be stated enough. It's very important that you take time to practice your magic. Now, there's a lot of tricks that you can learn where you can learn it in 5 minutes, and there's even some tricks that are called self-working tricks where you just have to move the cards a certain way and the magic happens on its own. And it's possible you may be able to pick up a trick that only takes you 5 minutes to learn. But I still very much encourage you to take time to practice. All good magic has a lot of effort and work put into it, and that's what makes it very, very special. The truth of the matter is, in order to really get good at magic, for a lot of people, it does take a lot of time. In some cases, it even takes years. If you look at some of the best magicians you see out there today, I can guarantee you they didn't learn how to do what they know how to do in just 5 or 10 minutes. It takes a lot of self-discipline and a lot of trial and error. And you might learn a new trick and you might find that you're having a difficult time with it. Definitely keep practicing. It's always important to practice as much as you can. And once you learn the trick, keep practicing it even more. Because it's one thing to be able to make a trick look good, but it's another thing to be able to make a trick look great. So really take time to develop it. Really work on it. Keep practicing. Even if it feels like, I know this already, I don't need to practice this anymore. Don't fool yourself. Definitely keep practicing. I'll go ahead and share with you that for me, there are a lot of tricks that take me a lot of time to master and develop. I have a trick that I have in my own repertoire that has actually taken me about 1.5 years to perfect. And I'll be honest, I still don't think it's 100% perfect yet. I'm still working on it. So you'll find that there are a lot of tricks that might take you some time, but just keep practicing. And once you think you got it, practice in front of people, because that will really tell you where you're at with this trick. Because of course, your audience is always going to be the big X factor. So really take time to practice. In some cases, there are many magicians that practice through the wee hours of the night, and that's no exaggeration. It may take time, and it may take a lot of patience, but trust me, keep practicing. I definitely recommend taking some time to do some research. It's always good to learn where this art form has been, and it's always good to learn from the magicians of the past. And the truth is, a lot of the great magic that you see today is developed from old ideas that magicians have done back in the day. And there's actually a lot of old ideas that magicians today still go back to and refer to. One of the best card magicians that has ever lived was a magician by the name of Vernon, also referred to as the Professor. The things that he developed in card magic are techniques that magicians go back to this very day. If you can find any books by Vernon, I highly recommend them because they're such a rich tapestry of ideas for card magic and close-up magic. And believe me, they're definitely worth the read because there's so much rich material that you can learn from that. And it's also really good to learn about some of the magicians in the past that have helped pave the way for magicians of today. Magicians like Jean-Robert Houdin, Thurston, Houdini, Alexander the Great, Chung-Ling Soo, and so many others. It's very worthwhile reading about these magicians and learning about their histories and why they did what they did. One book that I certainly recommend is David Copperfield's History of Magic. It is a wonderful reference of some of the great magicians of the past and what their contributions were to this great art form. I definitely recommend that book. It's always really great to know about the shoulders of the giants that we stand on. It's always really great to know where we've been, so we know where we could be going. So I'll be honest, this one has definitely been a personal challenge for me. It's been difficult because the thing is, if you want your magic to be really good, you got to find a way to make it your own. There are a lot of magic tricks that you can learn from books or magic tricks that you can buy online. And a lot of times when they explain how the trick is done, a lot of them have a what we call patter. That's the lines that you say. A lot of these tricks have patter already built in and written into the trick. But then again, you don't always want to recite someone else's words. You want to develop the trick in a way where when people see it, they'll not only remember your great trick, but they'll also remember you. Here's a good example. There are a lot of magicians that perform levitations in their acts. Levitation has become kind of a standard in stage illusion shows. And levitations are fantastic and they're amazing to watch. But then there's David Copperfield. And he developed a levitation unlike anything anyone has ever seen. He didn't just float in the air. He was flying. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful presentations of levitation I have ever seen. True story, when I saw that for the first time live when I was 12 years old, I actually started to cry. And that was the first time that ever happened to me. It was the first time I ever saw a magic trick that brought me to tears. And no matter what, I guarantee you, when people think about levitation acts, David Copperfield's flying illusion is one that will always stand on its own. And there's certainly many other examples out there. Certainly, if you look at Penn and Teller, they're definitely not afraid to make the magic their own. They have their own unique style, and they just stay true to who they are. And I think that's one of the most important things in magic. How do you take a trick and make it your own? That's something that I'm constantly working on. That's something that does take me a little bit of time to do. A lot of times when I learn a new trick, sometimes it takes me a while to figure out how I want to present this. What story do I want to tell with this? Because I don't want you to just see my magic tricks. I want you to see me. I want you to get to know me. And that's what you should want for your audience as well. There are some magicians that like to create characters. Example, look at Piff the Magic Dragon. I mean, he's a superstar right now, and he's developed a character that's unique to him. And it definitely works because you'll definitely remember Piff the Magic Dragon. He'll definitely stand out. And he does just such an amazing, amazing job. I don't want to philosophize too much, but one of the sad things about magic is that there are a lot of copycats out there. There are a lot of people who just try to copy something that somebody else did. And it's kind of a sad thing, and I don't know if there's really anything you can do about it. But that's why I really want to emphasize, try to make your magic your own. When you develop your act, when you develop your show, you want your audience leaving saying, wow, I saw something very unique. I saw something very special, and I'm always going to remember that performance. Of all the tips that I can share, this one is by far the most important tip of all. Don't give up. There's a lot of magic, and I'll just be honest, that's hard to do. There's a lot of magic that's very difficult. There's a lot of magic that you won't be able to get right away. That's just how it is. But don't give up on yourself. And here's another hard truth. If you really want to become a professional working magician, it's hard to break into. It really, really is. You know, it's hard to find gigs now and then. It's hard to just get attention. It's hard to get noticed. Don't give up. If you love this enough and you really do care about it, you owe it to yourself to keep going and keep trying and keep trying. As you all know, my big, big mantra that I like to share all the time is always believe in yourself. I can't stress that enough. Don't give up on yourself. Yes, you're gonna get frustrated. Yes, you're gonna spend some money and buy a new trick, and you're gonna work on it and work on it, and it's gonna be too tough, and you're gonna be like, forget it, I can't master this, it's too hard. Don't give up. If you believe in yourself and you keep at it, great things will happen to you. And you might have a long road ahead, and that's okay. Don't worry about where you're going, just worry about where you're at. That's what makes great art worthwhile. I had a college professor who once told me, art ain't easy. And that's very, very true. A lot of great art that you see takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. I will keep repeating those words because there are 3 words that have to sink in. Whether you're doing magic or whether you're doing film, writing, or whatever it is you love to do, don't give up. Don't give up. I promise you, if you keep believing in yourself, you will make great things happen and people will appreciate what you're doing. Well, there you go. My 5 tips on how to be a good magician. I really do hope you find these tips helpful in some way. And if you're watching and you're not really interested in being a magician, I definitely hope that in some way, these tips still are helpful for you somehow. And if they are, I'd really love to hear. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I love to read comments and I always respond to my comments. If you happen to know someone who's interested in magic and would like a couple of helpful hints, feel free to share this video with them. I'm very happy to share what I know and what I've learned over the years. I'm always happy to help out other people. I feel like this is an art form that needs to be shared with people. Once again, a very special thank you to all of my subscribers. You're very important to me, and thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon here on LD Madera Magic.